Let's talk about the worst financial advice I've ever heard.
Okay, here's my unpopular opinion that no one requested.
This is an unpopular opinion, but it is a financially wise decision.
Hey everybody, how you doing?
Welcome back.
So, there's a lot of opinions about financial stuff, and there's a lot of unpopular opinions. Mine is that, you don't always have to save. It's good if you do save, but if you want to buy something, just buy it. Just don't put yourself into homelessness, truly.
Yeah,
And
for real.
what's yours?
Like, just kind of make sure that you have everything in order first before you're just going out buying something that you don't need.
Yeah.
Like, you don't want to just get something for the sake of doing it, but then you have to sacrifice something important to do that.
I don't think these are unpopular opinions at all, actually. I'm pretty sure we're ice cold takes, not hot takes.
But I wouldn't follow all of these unpopular opinions or just any financial advice in general, because there's a lot of bad advice out there.
Like, if following our advice, I'm pretty sure you might be kind of Anyway, this doesn't follow our advice completely because we're not financial advisors. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah. Don't do what I did and live paycheck to paycheck to pay off debt.
Yeah.
It worked.
Don't waste all your money on nonsense like I did.
Yeah. Don't do that.
Let's talk about the worst financial advice I've ever heard. Number one is don't invest until you've paid off all your debt. The reason this is first is because of a concept called compound interest, which essentially allows your money to grow on top of itself over time. Basically, if you wait to start investing, let's say 10 years, you could lose out on hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of growth. And obviously, being a numbers person, I've run the numbers for you. So let's say you're 22 and you invest $100 a month, nothing more between now and the time you retire at 65, you'd end up with almost $300,000. Let's say you wait 10 years and you start investing at 32 after you've paid off your student loan in full. You'd retire with $140,000. So essentially, by waiting 10 years, you cut your savings in half. Number two, and this one makes me really angry, is that budgets are dumb and you don't need one. If you are someone who wants to see long-term, consistent, sustainable financial success, you need to start with a budget. The only people who say budgets are dumb are people who aren't good at saving money or don't want to get out of their own way to save money, or financial gurus who are trying to get your attention. A budget that's built correctly, meaning that it's a zero-based 3-bucket budget, should open up opportunities for you. It should give you permission to spend. It should not be feeling super restrictive. It shouldn't make you feel like you can't say yes to things. If anything, it should help you design the lifestyle that you actually want to live. Long story short, a zero-based 3-bucket budget is a budget that allocates every dollar that you earn to either an expense or a financial goal, and it categorizes everything into essential expenses, financial goals, and non-essential expenses. Number 3 is that you need a financial advisor to be financially successful. I disagree with this so deeply, especially because many financial advisors, not all, but many, don't necessarily have your best intentions at heart. And I think something that's really important to remember on your personal financial journey is that nobody cares about your money more than you do. A very small amount of financial education is plenty for the majority of people. And if you're looking to get started investing without a financial advisor, I have a free investing guide that's available on my page. Number 4 is that credit cards are bad. Credit cards are not bad unless you use them incorrectly or if you abuse them. And number 5 is that renting is throwing money away. This argument makes me so angry because it's literally a toxic push to make people feel like unless they buy property, they're wasting their money and they're never going to be financially successful. In many cases, buying property is not a financially smart move to make. And I know that that makes people angry, but you have to run the numbers. Anyways, I'd love to hear what's the worst financial advice you've ever heard, so let me know in the comments.
For real. Like financial advisors, you're basically putting all your finances into someone else's opinion. And I'm gonna be real. In every job, someone sucks at their job.
Yeah, and I feel like if you're gonna have one, you should be working together, not like let them guide you instead of just them doing everything and you just have to trust that they're correct, because a lot of financial advisors have different opinions, so it's like you got to know what works for you.
Yeah. And with the whole budget thing, yeah. I felt like I really would do better with the physical budget in front of me. I made a budget actually.
It's in my head.
I'm not good with the head stuff. I'm always thinking about something stupid. Like I just remembered that Boris or Kane was in a horror movie once. Well, twice. Huh? Why do I remember that? That was like 2009. It's 2025.
But I will say that the first one that she was talking about like investing after paying off debt, that's what I did actually, because like I just wanted to get the debt out of the way because it was easier for me to just visualize how much money I can keep and then how much money needs to go to other things.
Yeah.
So it's just easier that way and I don't have to worry about what's gonna be the bill next month because of interest.
Yeah.
But I did that in like 5 months, so it didn't take me like 10 years or anything.
See, that's good for you. I need to visualize. I need an actual visual physical thing in front of me. It makes it easier, honestly.
Yeah, it just stresses me out knowing that like I might not have this money or whatever. I might need it for a explosion of interest or something like the next month, and I don't have to worry about that.
I might need it for the actual explosion next month. I don't know. The stove looking pretty crazy today.
At least it's not debt.
Yeah.
Debt is scary.
Yeah. And once again, the rent thing, yeah, I fell for it too.
I don't see how you're renting. I never really fell for it because it's like it's a place to stay and it might not always be ideal for everyone, but then owning property isn't always ideal.
Yeah.
And even when you have property, you still are technically throwing money away at like different things like maintenance. And then if you are underwater on your mortgage and you have to sell, it's like a lot of stuff.
Thankfully, a mortgage is renting from a bank and they can take your house at any time. Honestly,
Yeah.
the government can take your house at any time if you have to pay it off. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, because the taxes, the property taxes, that's pretty much just yearly rent.
From the government.
Yeah,
Crazy.
it sucks.
Insane. Well, you got that? I'm not gonna say nothing else. Also, I fell for it because I'm thinking like, oh man, where's some money in here? No, we're not. Not really.
Technically, sometimes I do feel like that because it's management.
Oh yeah,
It just sucks.
well, definitely the management can make it feel worse. But overall, if it was regular, someone
Yeah.
good, we wouldn't be wasting money in here really.
Like I'm just tired of giving them money, and I feel like there's better options.
Probably
Yeah,
check all your sites, guys, all of them.
for you.
Kind of feel like stirring the pot, so I'm going to share some of my most controversial money takes as a personal finance girly with little to no explanation. Coming out of the gate swinging, my first one is I don't think women should completely merge their finances with their partner, and if you are going to, then you should get a prenup. I always say that crazier things have happened and are currently happening than two people falling out of love or a relationship not working, so we need to be realists and protect ourselves for any situation. Your 20s is the best time to be saving and to be financially disciplined. Yes, you should travel and try new things and all the other things they say to do in your 20s, but it is also the one time in your life you're going to have like the least number of bills and responsibilities, and just knowing how compound interest works, you want the time to be investing now. Buying a home is not always a good investment. We are all kind of raised to believe that buying a home is the best investment that you can make, and that's actually not true in a lot of cases if you actually run the numbers. I feel like I'm kind of qualified to talk about this because my boyfriend and I bought a house specifically as an investment property, and we ran the numbers on countless properties, and there were a lot that weren't actually a good investment and didn't make the numbers work. I know people buy homes for lots of different reasons, not just for the financial reason, but if you are buying yours because you think it's a good investment, make sure you run the numbers. Buying a new car is one of the worst financial mistakes a lot of people make. Not everybody, but for most people, it is not a good decision. Unless you're super rich and just have like FU money, you should not be buying a new car, especially if that new car is a big chunk of your take-home pay. This next one's gonna trigger a lot of people, so if you're married and you get triggered really easily, you probably want to skip the rest of this video, but big expensive weddings that you are paying for yourself are not a wise decision financially. I'm not saying they aren't worth it and it's not gonna be the best day of your life, but there are about 100 other things that you could do with your money that are going to serve you a lot better in the long run. I'm a firm believer that everyone should just do what they want. So if you want to have a big expensive wedding, then you should do that. But I do encourage everyone to at least run the numbers of what it would look like if you were to invest that money instead. So you at least know the true opportunity cost of spending all this money on one day. The last one is more of a theory, but I have a hypothesis that outside of income, there's an inverse relationship between how much someone spends or how much they buy and how happy they are. And I think that people who are more unhappy in life tend to overspend, and that they're overcompensating for being either unhappy or having low self-esteem or low self-confidence and need that dopamine rush from shopping to make themselves feel better.
I don't really get the dopamine rush from shopping. I get the dopamine rush from using what I shopped for.
Yeah.
I don't really get the whole dopamine rush from shopping itself.
I get a dopamine rush from paying off debt, for real.
Well, I guess you're out of luck there. No more dopamine for you.
Good. Let's just keep it that way because it's ridiculous.
With the whole prenup thing, yeah. Well, I feel like honestly coming down to agreement. If you got split up, there should be something. I guess that's what a prenup is for.
Yeah.
A lot of people just be saying like, "My money's my money. You get nothing."
Yeah, for real.
Especially if you're in a marriage where one person stays home, the other one works.
Yep.
That definitely is very scummy. But you always have your money separate, even if you're married. You know, you always have separate saving accounts. You know, allocate some to a group, allocate the rest into your own.
Yeah, like one into a joint account, and then you both have your own accounts also.
Yeah, you like that word I use right there? Allocate. That's the biggest word I use so far. Heck yeah. I don't know if I said it right. Anyway. Yeah.
But I do agree about like the new car purchases being like a big financial mistake because pretty much everyone we know has bought a new car, and then like one person bought like a really new car then lost their job right after. So it's like you don't want to do that.
For real. I also, once again, I don't like new cars just because the aspect of, well, if it gets recalled, now I'm out of a car.
Yeah.
I'd rather just get a used car that actually get an action like 25 times because at least I'll get a good deal.
It's just from point A to point B. Then you have so much more money that you can put in investments and other places, and your future self will thank you.
Yeah. My future self's going to hate me.
Most likely.
Yeah. I hate me. My house.
If you don't just use your 20s to get out of debt, though,
For
like,
real.
definitely do that.
Yeah.
Because especially if you don't have any kids or you don't have like a house or any other crazy responsibilities, you could pretty much put all of your money towards it so you can get out of debt by like age 30.
Yeah.
This is an unpopular opinion, but it is a financially wise decision. And what I'm talking about is if your income is increasing or you're expecting a bonus, you should be investing the difference or reducing your debt. So if you can already comfortably live within your current income, don't go and try to spend as if you're now at the next class up, because by doing so, you're always going to be chasing that forever tail. You're always in that consumerism cycle. So if you're expecting a $10,000 pay increase, sure, you've earned it. Maybe take 10% of that to, celebrate or buy something that you really want, and then invest the difference or reduce the debt. I'm your financial engineer. I'm all about mortgages and money tips. So if you want to learn more, be sure and follow like for more.
We use the term unpopular opinions for anything, don't we?
Pretty much.
That just seems like something that we said before.
Buzzword.
Buzzword.
It's a really smart thing to do, though, because like for me, I wasn't trying to put so much money towards debt when there was interest, because it's like I feel like it's wasting money when the interest is constantly building and I'm not getting ahead. So it's like I kind of waited till I had all the money to just pay it off in full. But
Yeah, that makes sense.
probably
honestly.
shouldn't do that, though.
No, you shouldn't. Because honestly, don't you get like some type of? I know the interest hits you, but like you get some good things. It's good credit report when you build up your credit. So if you ever get something that happens that makes your credit kind of worse, you can use that to try to build it up more and show your consistent pace, right?
I feel like it's only really the minimum payments, but like
Dang.
anything extra doesn't. I don't think it really counts that much.
Dang.
But I don't know.
Never mind. See, that's why I say don't listen to me for financial advice. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Exactly. But for real, you shouldn't be spending more as you make more. You should be investing more as you make more. And I feel like paying off debt is an investment too.
Yeah. Also, once again, you can't spend it. Just allocate some money for it. Take like maybe 5% of it to put it somewhere, save it up, buy something you really want. Think about it first.
Yeah.
Get on the deal. And just kind of go off of that. Make everything else investment money or saving money.
Exactly, because when you're paying off debt, you're investing in your future for financial freedom and also maybe getting into a positive network.
Yeah. I don't know what net worth is really like that. Not the money you have, but the money you could have or whatever.
Like the value of your investments. I don't know if there's more to that, maybe.
What's a popular opinion that you don't agree with? I'll go first. Money can indeed buy happiness. I'm currently sitting in the car while my son is napping, and we're outside of a Lowe's because our washer broke. We have had this washer for years, and if we had the money, I would love to be able to upgrade. It's not like it's a fancy washer and dryer. There's so many times in life where I feel like people are so stressed out about money that you can't tell me they wouldn't be happier if they had a little bit of money to be comfortable, particularly in this economy that we're living in right now. I have a very good job. I am so blessed by the amount of money that I make. My husband and I together make the same amount of money that my dad used to make and raise a family of 5 on. And we're sitting here living paycheck to paycheck, fixing old broken things all the time because we can't afford anything new. And I also want to acknowledge the fact that it could be so much worse. But did you know that for every 10 marriages that end in divorce, 4 of them are because of money? It just puts so much stress on people in general, especially marriages, parents. Like, I want nothing more than in this world to be able to give my son everything. And so I'm constantly thinking about ways to save money, make more money. Like, it is so hard in today's economy to not think about money. I also understand that with more money comes more stress, more additional problems. I get that. But I'm not asking for millions and millions and millions. I'm asking to be able to work the job that I have, live a comfortable life, and not worry about how are we going to pay for his college later? How are we going to buy him his first car? How are we, like all of those things that every parent wants to do for their kid. How are we going to do it? So yeah, hate me if you want, but I do think money can buy happiness.
Honestly, it can.
Yeah, to some extent.
Yeah. Because, it can't completely make you the happiest person on earth. You still have problems at the end of the day, but it'll get a lot of the stressful situations off your back. I can tell you that much.
Yeah, because, I get the saying that money can't buy happiness because, would you rather have, a bunch of money and no one, or would you, rather have a family that's supportive and there for you, but, no money? It's just, I get it.
That's a hard one.
But for you, I feel like to some extent it can, because it provides some type of happiness. It just can't fully provide happiness.
Yeah, and the point being, I get that as well. I really just want to be able to not worry about money, house money. I already have a house because I had enough money to buy a house. Ooh,
yeah,
that's it.
Financial freedom. That's it.
For real. But that does suck. And also, how much money did he make back then? 20,000.
For real.
Because if you look back on the prices that the older generations were working with, they were basically, that mess was crazy. They could basically buy a house with a quarter of a year's worth of work.
Yeah.
And so maybe the issue here is that we haven't been paid more.
And the house prices just keep going up. So it's no one can keep up with that.
It's raise the wage already, man. You don't have to raise it too much. Just raise it enough so I can, buy lunch, please.
Or just please drop the house prices.
One of the two. I'm not asking for both. It'd be nice to give both.
And does anyone have a Stream Queen or whatever the heck? A washing machine and dryer? Because apparently those are the best ones you can get, and it's $1,000-ish.
I thought it was Speed Queen. Speed Queen.
It might be. It's whatever queen. It starts with an S and queen.
Yes, Queen.
But if you have one, or you have something that you think is the best one, comment below.
Also, how much you want for it?
But I heard don't get Samsung, so.
Yeah, don't.
Well.
someone's financial skills and financial wealth is have a look at the cars on their drive.
I remember a few people being shocked when me and Bram bought our first house when we were only 20, because at the time we both drove around in like pretty crappy cars. But the reason we were able to buy our first home at 20 is because we drove crappy cars. We never and still don't feel the need to finance a car and spend hundreds of pounds a month on a car that we can't afford. And I'm quite happy driving around in my 10-year-old car because it still gets me from A to B. It's the perfect size, it's a perfect family car, and it's not draining my bank account every month. And some people might look down on us for driving around in a crappy car and spending a lot of money on our house, but I would much rather spend money and live in a nice big house and be able to spend that money on our mortgage rather than a car that we can't afford.
Actually, that raises a question for me. Basically, if you're British or European, how does mortgage and stuff work for you guys over there? Is it as crazy as over here? Well, I guess you wouldn't know, really. So, but yeah, I truly want to know, like how bad are your rates? Because I remember seeing that one video. It's like she was like paying like what 27 something, and then all of a sudden she's like paying like 200,
Yeah,
700 or whatever.
insane. But I do agree with this because cars depreciate, and it's like it's your house over the car. Like I will drive a crappy car any day because it's just point A to point B. I don't really need anything else from it.
The only thing I don't need to be crappy is that engine, bro.
Yeah,
The outside could be rusting, falling off. As long as that engine is safe, I'm driving that car.
exactly. Don't be drying up your account for a car.
For real.
Okay, here's my unpopular opinion that no one requested, but here's my issue with DoorDash. So I personally don't DoorDash, but I literally don't care if other people do. But I have a friend who always gets boba tea on DoorDash. It would be $6 for her to go pick it up. It's 7 minutes from her house, and she gets it multiple times. It ends up costing her $20 each time, okay? I would normally not care, but then she always complains about how she doesn't have money to do things. Like, literally is always complaining about her finances. So I think it just sort of has to be one way or the other. Like, you're either going to recognize that your DoorDash habits are problematic and it's probably more than just DoorDash, or you're going to complain. I just don't think you can have it both ways. And I said this to her face, and now she just hides her DoorDash orders from me. So probably not going to address it with people anymore.
Let's be real here. I'm gonna keep $1.50 with y'all. We actually have a video based on around this about apps, food delivery apps, how they're a scam. We do that for spare money. We work that for spare money. You are being scammed.
You really are.
It costs more to order it on the app.
Because of convenience.
Yeah, even the third-party apps for the company. I mean, the first-party apps for the company themselves are cheaper. They're basically like the same as the menu at the store, maybe a couple cents extra.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, too, you can order through those and they still be delivered DoorDash. So you'll be just as fine with that.
Exactly. But this is why I don't tell people that I know about like their habits, because they're not going to listen. I feel like most people just don't want to look into their habits and change anything because they don't want to believe it's their fault. They want to blame something else, like the economy, the prices, but there's always something that you can change. And I feel like it's the way that a lot of people are raised. Because like you're told to just spend the money that you make on things that you want, and if you can't afford everything you want, then you don't have any money.
No, for real. When you would ask for something like, "Do you have this money for that?" I don't. Now that you have money for it, now you don't have to ask.
Exactly.
But also, here's one thing I want to say. She's buying bubble tea, $6. Basically, spending $20 a day on bubble tea. You can go to the nearest Asian market store. I know you have one. Or Walmart. They have that mess. Like, any grocery store has bubble tea stuff.
Yep.
It's not hard.
Make it yourself.
Make it yourself.
Just like coffee.
Yeah. We don't go to coffee shops no more.
Yeah.
We just make coffee ourselves. We got syrups now.
For you.
So hard.
But my take is that if I have money to just be comfortable and pay my bills at the minimum, and then I have a little bit extra for like an emergency or something else, then I'm good. I don't really need much else.
Yeah. All I gotta do is get my PS5 because I got a friend who helped me steal some games. Don't tell him I said that though. And I'm fine. I can pirate some stuff up there, dog. I'm good. I'm golden.
For real. Keep the expenses low.
I'll keep them low.
This is going to be a really unpopular opinion, but I believe if you're in your early 20s, an emergency fund is overrated. If you're in your early 20s, that is the best time for your money to compound over the next few decades. Taking money and putting it in your bank account to prepare for emergencies if you get fired or sick, I don't think is just the right way to approach financials. If you compare how much money you would have if you put it into the market versus if you put it into a savings account for your emergency fund, the change is absolutely insane over the next 2-3 decades. If you just had $20,000 in your 20s, and then you let that compound for the next 20-30 years, you pretty much have millions or hundreds of thousands of dollars. Meanwhile, if you put it in a savings account, you have nothing. And inflation just absolutely destroys it. Also, if you do get sick or if there is emergency and you need to pull money out, the market is extremely liquid. You know, these days, to pull money from a savings account back to your checkings account takes about the same amount of time for brokerages to convert your money back into your bank account anyway. If I was in my early 20s again, I would not put any money into my savings. I would put it all into the market. Also, if you do get sick and you have some sort of medical emergency, those few thousands of dollars you have saved up is not going to cover probably your medical bill.
True.
If a medical emergency does happen and it's tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars, you shouldn't burn through your savings. Let that be debt. Let that be someone else's problem. You can pay that debt off later. And if you max out your 401k or other Roth IRA accounts for 2 or 3 years, right after you graduate, you're going to have millions of dollars by the time you're 65 at the rate the market has gone in the last decade. If I was doing my early 20s again, that's exactly what I would have done. I would have maxed out all of my retirement accounts and not have to worry about it after I'm
Real stuff, though.
Yeah, he's right. He's right. Also, yeah, it takes like if something really bad medical emergency wise happens, that's like 15 plus, 14K plus, man.
Yeah, I feel like especially when you're in your 20s and you might not have that many responsibilities and you're kind of like just getting out of on your own, I feel like your parents or family might be a little bit more lenient to like help you out.
Yeah.
So like you could always just have that as like a fallback. You have an emergency, you can go back and living with them for a little bit or get them to help you out, loan you money or something.
Yeah. If I get an emergency, I'm just going to call Morgan. He'll be better off.
We are not sponsored.
I'm not horse by Morgan, but it'd be really dope if. No, I'm joking. I'm not actually. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like that last one, once again, as I said, you know, they will say something. He did the finance bro thing. He said this is kind of dumb, and then proceeded to name off some things, but they also were really good. So he's not completely doing it. And like investing too. That's what we're doing. We invested money recently with this whole tariff stuff going on. It dropped some stocks, so now we bought into some stocks, and now they're going back up because he paused them for 90 days, which we'll see more then. Oh, wait, now we got another time to start buying more.
Heck
in
yeah.
90 days, we'll buy more stock. Truly, yeah, investing is kind of smarter than saving. Even saving is investing. You can invest in other like high yield savings account, which is basically a savings account, but higher, you just got to pay more to get it out. All that.
And I just feel like there's always a way out of like if you have an emergency, even if you don't have parents or family to go back to, there's like other things that you could do to like lower expenses or just get out of the situation.
Yeah.
Rather than going into debt too. So yeah, there's other ways.
That's life. Well, that's all I gotta say there. My biggest unpopular opinion is that honestly, well, we already said ours at the beginning. We don't have no popular opinions because we just kind of. I ain't gonna try to say nothing really like that.
I guess just the only one is what I did, just living paycheck to paycheck to pay off debt.
Yeah,
it worked for me.
I guess my biggest popular opinion is just buy what you want to buy. Because a lot of people hate when you say that for some reason. Like, stop pocket watching other people.
For real, it's just that like if you're sacrificing something important and it's like then you put yourself in a bad spot and you're like, I don't have money. It's like, then don't just be buying just to buy.
Truly, if you buy what you want to buy and it puts you in a bad spot because you've been buying too much, I feel like that's your own fault. Stop complaining.
Yeah.
That's all I gotta say. I did to myself too. So like, I can't complain about it. It's
Very
my fault. Ooh, something got mine. Anyway.
Well, thank you for watching the video. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Share the video, and please get us to 1,000 subscribers.
Bye, guys.
Bye.